So many of you know Amber. She serves as the Deputy General Manager of the Rio Grande Water Conservation District, bringing over 20 years of expertise in water resource management. In her previous role, she played a key role in establishing 6 groundwater management sub-districts and managed the daily operations of 3, contributing to the goal of finding sustainable water solutions for the region. As Deputy Manager, she oversees the delivery of public services for the district's constituents and ensures coordination with local, county, state, and federal agencies. As a lifelong resident of the San Luis Valley, she holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in accounting and an MBA from Adams State University. Passionate about preserving her community's water resources, she is proud to support efforts to safeguard the Valley's future, and we're all certainly fortunate to have her doing that work for us. So, Amber.
Well, I'm the shortest person that's talking today, and I always have to stand to the side of the podium because you wouldn't see me if I didn't. So I get the fortune of being the last speaker from the local community for you today, and I want to thank everyone who laid out the path for me. And what I was going to talk about today, hopefully if you've been here all day, you've heard in every panel's presentation how much people need to be at the table and how much the community matters and how much a lot of perspectives matter for us to be able to solve some of these really tough issues. So my topic, thank you Paul for this, was building a community of collaboration. So as Paul mentioned, one of my roles is now the chair of our Rio Grande Basin Roundtable, which is a fabulous group of folks from the Valley. We have folks from outside of the Valley. Robert is always joining our roundtable, and we're getting more and more folks online. We are able here in the Valley to bring a lot of people together in a respectful way, hear lots of good perspectives. Not that we always agree, you've heard us talk about that too, but listening to folks and seeing how we can find the best solution moving forward, and sometimes there's some challenging questions there. So I wanted to start here, as everyone's talked about, is why is collaboration so important in water especially? And a lot of people brought this and to your attention, but we all know this, and I found a good graphic of this, is every component of a community is tied to water. I was shocked not 100% was a career or a job that was tied to water, because I feel like nothing is out there that's not tied to water. But you can see history, culture, agriculture, environment, rec, business, government, education, everything is talked about when you're talking about water. All the folks today you heard from were bringing that up. But water is complex. We need everybody at the table, not just one perspective, not just the science folks, not just the economic folks. We need the local perspectives. We need the education. Earlier this week, I was at a library talk helping come up with a installation for the Alamosa Library. Water is important in all aspects of our community. We need to be at the table wherever we can, and we need to invite those people in. Water is interconnected. Rarely is it just one sector of the community. If something's going wrong in water, everybody's going to be affected by it. And I think we heard that today pretty loudly, that we all need to be there. And then water issues are diverse. We need to have a diverse range of expertise and knowledge and perspective at the table, and all need to be welcome. And I appreciate the future producers today who talked about how can we support them, how can we invite them in, show that they should be included and they should be respected, because it's really important to hear what they want to see us doing. Frankie, good question for them today too, because it is right. We're telling them these things, but we need to hear what they want us doing for their future. So, we really find this collaboration important. This is a wonderful picture. We don't take many pictures of ourselves, but this is a roundtable meeting, and now it's fuller than this when you attend the roundtable in person. But the power of our community is inclusivity. Allowing a space for different perspectives to be welcome and respected, strengthens our ability to be resilient. If we can come up with new ideas, We can continue to grow, be innovative. We don't just stay stuck on the same science, the same data, the same perspective, and that is helpful. And we're building out our network of support. We don't just include folks from the San Luis Valley at the table. We bring in lots of different areas of the state, of the United States. We bring people from all over to the Valley to try to help us solve these problems. And a lot of them continue to stay there. I see them hanging out on our Zooms and attending meetings and calling and asking questions. They don't go away once they've come to one meeting. Collaboration is a way to exchange ideas, resources, and expertise. Again, coming to the table, coming to these types of meetings, coming to board meetings, county meetings, all of these things where all these different ideas are being discussed. We need to strengthen the community bonds. RWR, AWDI, you heard a lot of folks talk about export. That's when we've seen ourselves the strongest. You talk about exporting water and everybody's at the table. The San Luis Valley shows up and people respect that. I go around the state a lot now and I hear that everywhere. People wish they had communities like ours. They actually want us to come into their communities and talk about how we do it. They do value the collaboration they see here in the Valley. And you know, we're a community of people working towards shared goals. We might not all agree on how we get there, but we know we need to get there. And I like to think it's Wade Sandoval's son. Sorry, I forgot your name. I appreciate your answers today about, you know, what the young folks need to do and where we need to go. It's important. And then support. You know, collaboration is a place to get support for your ideas, encourage participation, and value individuals in an engaging space. So one of those places that I'll highlight today, there's many places in the Valley where you can go to collaborate, but is the Rio Grande Basin Roundtable. So in 2005, the legislature passed the Colorado for the 21st Century Act, which really laid out a number of things, but it allowed the creation of the roundtables. So there are 9 of them in the state, and I have a small map there, hopefully everyone can see, where those roundtables exist. But really what it allowed us to do was it set up this framework for collaboration, for people to come together in these basins to look at solutions for their problems within the framework of what came later, the Colorado Water Plan. So these guide us in how we move forward with trying to solve our issues. And the roundtable really informs that process. That's where this information comes into the water plan, into our basin implementation plans. It's in these collaborative groups. We're kind of writing our future in this Colorado Water Plan. What's good about the roundtable, it's directed and managed locally for our local community. Our values, our issues. We get to say how we want to solve those things. It's not a top-down, it's a bottom-up approach. And that's why I think we have a lot of folks at our table here in the Valley is we like that way of doing things here in the Valley. We don't want to be told what to do. We want people to listen how we want to do it. And also money. Money's a great thing. We heard about how expensive everything we do is. And so through these roundtables, we have a source of funding to go and apply for grants and get some of these projects done. And what we really focus on is funding multi-beneficial projects, things that solve a lot of different issues within one funding source. So we really do try to focus on getting people to collaborate with each other. So just to highlight, in this basin, these are 5 of the areas that we've identified as our water-related issues: agriculture, environment, recreation, municipal, industrial, and water administration. And you've heard a little bit about all of those sectors today. But these are things we value, and these are the things that we try to focus on. And a lot of the projects that we choose to fund through the roundtable will identify many multi-benefits in their projects. They'll solve 2-3 issues within these different categories. We won't just see somebody come in and say, I want to benefit my farm with ag. You'll see them say, well, if I help my farm, I'm also helping the environment. I can help with rec, maybe even a water administration solution. So you'll see a lot of that through our funding. And These you can read in full on our Basin website, but I wanted to just highlight, that we have 5 goals that we identified here in the Basin: healthy watersheds, adaptive, flexible, and creative water administration. We're not going to be able to solve our problems if we stick to the same old. We want an engaged and informed citizens who can understand the issues, aquifers with sustainable supplies of groundwater, and vibrant, resilient agriculture, recreation, municipal, and industrial economies. So all of these things are important to us, and I think the majority of folks would agree that we've hit on the most important values of our community. And I wanted to also highlight, through the funding, I couldn't stretch this out so you could see the vast number of projects, but since the roundtable has been in existence, there's been many projects that have been funded through the roundtable and through the statewide fund for what we call water reserve projects. And you can see they cover the whole entire San Luis Valley here. Many of these, again, are looking at multiple issues in the valley within one project. And I would say Nathan and Heather have been with the roundtable longer than I, that it's well over $20 million probably in projects just through the local basin, not including all the other projects we do here in the valley, but quite a number of them. And a few of those were mentioned today. The Airborne Snow Observatory flights, that was a project that was approved through the roundtable in 2024 for a 3-year project. And Heather also mentioned the ditch infrastructure project that looked at recreation and safe boating passage. That was another roundtable funded project. And so, these are important projects that we're all benefiting from, even if we're not aware they're out there. Here's my last slide. I know we're wanting to move on to our keynote speaker, but this is where I wanted to look at the future. This was about the future and what can we continue to do, to move ahead, forge our way. So to me, this is my opinion, and I'd hope the roundtable members here and others would add to this, but we need to remain proactive, and we need to stay well ahead of these bigger issues. And I think we're very good at that here in the Valley. We don't sit back and wait for it to happen to us. We try to get ahead of the game, as we are with our aquifers and other issues. We're trying to solve those issues for ourselves. We need to keep telling our story, the importance of water in our community, to anyone and everyone. It's building this network of people who can contribute to us. And there's a lot of folks in here that are traveling far and wide, telling our stories almost weekly to anybody who will listen to us, how important water is to the valley, why export is a bad thing, why Douglas County shouldn't agree to take water out of our basin. What does compact curtailment mean? All of these issues that you all live with every day, we're trying to spread that word to people who don't understand it, they don't live it, and they benefit from it. Having that community outside of our valley boundary is really, really beneficial. We have to meet people where they are. I would challenge all of you, who is missing from our table? Who should we have at the table? We want the round table and these other community events to be inclusive. If there's somebody missing, we want to know. We want to know who those people are so we could reach out and invite them. And I really appreciate the comment about the Ag Club. I think we're going to be inviting you guys to come talk to a round table because people want the younger folks there. We have 7 boards through the Rio Grande Water Conservation District, and those board members will agree. We don't have a lot of young folks, but we would love to see people applying for those positions, getting involved. What can we do to grow our community? We need to continue to be thoughtful and creative in solutions, and there's no one more creative than Nathan Combs, as you might have seen. He knows how to push the boundaries, and luckily Pat's in the back of the room now. We have to push DWR a little bit to accept some of our creative solutions, but we're trying to find new ways to do the things we need to do. but still stay within the confines of the law. And I think we're successful in that here. And then I think the most important thing is we have to stay committed. We have to stay involved. We have to keep coming to the water meetings. We have to keep talking to each other if we want the solutions to keep coming. You know, the more you talk to people, I'm sure you all realize that, they'll spark something in you, the conversation changes, you start building on that idea, and that's what we need. Just keep talking to each other, keep spreading the message, the things you hear at these conferences, keep telling your neighbors, keep telling them where they can go to talk about these things, because in the end, it's very important. We want to hear what everybody has to say, and I know we're not hearing a lot of what people have to say. We've got a long ways to go, but I do think it's one of the strengths here in the Valley. And so talking about meetings, as you all want to come to more of them, the roundtable meets every month on the second Tuesday of the month at 2 o'clock at the Rio Grande Water Conservation District office, which is out by the courthouse and the county buildings on South 285. You can join virtually, so if folks are at work and just want to listen in, we do appreciate having you all there. The Rio Grande Water Conservation District will be meeting on the 15th of April. Those are also public meetings, and we've got quite a few of the folks that you heard from today and other agencies talking at that meeting, and they meet quarterly, and folks are always welcome to attend. Also a virtual meeting, so if you're just interested in some of the larger things happening in water or policy or the sub-districts, you can listen in on that meeting and get a lot of information. So, you know, I invite you all to join us in the roundtable. I can't remember off the top of my head how many voting members we have on the roundtable, but it's something like 20 or so. But we have probably 40, 50 people in the room, and we don't tell people you can't sit at the table if you're not a voting member. We have voting and non-voting members all mixed in together at the table. Sometimes it's a challenge when you're trying to make sure you have a quorum for a vote, but we want everybody there. We don't try to, you know, separate those two from each other. Everybody's welcome at the table, and pretty soon we might need to borrow this space so that the number of people who attend can fit in this space. And with that, I just want to thank everybody for showing up today, and thank Adams State and the Salazar Rio Grande del Norte Center for hosting the symposium each year. It gets better and better, and more information is getting shared with everybody. And some information, if you want to reach out to me about the roundtable, my number and email are up there, and also 2 websites where you can get information. There's many others that I would like to share on here but didn't have room, where you can get more information. So thank you all for having me, and I think that's all I've got for you today.
Thank you, Amber. Are there any questions for Amber? We do have a few minutes before we take a break prior to our keynote. So any questions for Amber about the roundtable? Perhaps as you're thinking, I'll just say as a relative newcomer to the Valley, the roundtable has been an incredibly useful place for me to not only meet people who are in this work, but to get up to speed with many of these issues. And so many of the things that we've heard about today and why they're in this program are because I've been attending roundtables and participating in some of the tours and other things throughout the Valley. And so it's a great way to get involved and be part of this great collaborative work that's happening here. And I should note that the Salazar Center, working with the Roundtable, will be hosting an event. This is April 24th. So April 25th, the Rio Grande Compact is having their annual meeting here in Alamosa. The day before, on the 24th, Thursday, from 3 to 5 p.m. here on campus in McDaniel Hall 101. You don't need to write this down. I'll have flyers and things that'll come out. But David Robbins and Bill Paddock who many of you know, lawyers that have done a tremendous amount of work in this area with the compact, with the sub-districts, et cetera. We'll be talking about the Rio Grande Compact, the role of Elephant Butte Dam, and some of the things that we're seeing with sub-districts and groundwater. So another great lecture opportunity to come. There's that reception later that evening. And I don't know, maybe you could say something about the tours that happen periodically, because that might be of interest as well.
Sure, thanks Paul for reminding me about that. So we do have a fantastic education committee as part of our roundtable, and it's headed right now by Cassandra McEwen, who's with the Rio Grande Headwaters Restoration Project. And we've been doing a lot of work to do tours, some of them locally throughout the valley, and we've actually gone around the state. We've taken the show on the road and visited some other basins, but as Paul said, there's an opportunity for folks in the community. You don't have to be a roundtable member. We try to open up to the community, but we do have a request that people register just so we know how many folks are attending these tours, but we do have one coming up that is also related to the Rio Grande Compact, and we're going to take folks on a tour from the Closed Basin project, the end of the Closed Basin project where that delivery enters the Rio Grande there at the Alamosa Refuge, and head down to Lobatos Gauge and then over into Antonito. So it'll be an interesting tour. You get to actually see the sites, have folks that are, running those different projects or involved in compact deliveries, talking along the way. It's a great educational opportunity, and I can't remember the date now off the top of my head, but I thought it was the 18th, but I could be wrong. 10th, okay. So if folks are interested, please let us know. But we've got some great tours, one possibly coming up down to Elephant Butte that we just talked about, and New Mexico. We're planning one now to go into the Arkansas Basin, probably around chili harvest, and see some great projects they've done and some work they've done with their ditch owners over in that area and restoration projects. So we try to get around the valley and educate people as much as we can, educate ourselves about what's going on maybe outside of our day-to-day lives, but folks are always welcome to attend those. We just do ask, if you're interested, get on our roundtable mailing list. You can get a hold of me or any of our roundtable members. We do have a website. And we'll get you added so you get invites to those tours or different events that we're hosting. So thanks, Paul, for reminding me about that.
Any other questions? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you beat me to that, Pat. I was going to save that for after break, but since you asked, I will give you a sampling of just some of the things that are happening at the Salazar Center. But yes, as many of you may know, as part of our Water Studies minor, we do have 2 classes that are foundational courses, Water 101 and Water 201. Those are held in the fall and spring. And our Water 101 instructor, Maya Kyle-Miller, sitting right here. This is a class that is obviously open for Adams State students, but we open it up to the community as well. And again, through some generous funding through the Outcult Foundation, we have money to support community and student scholarships. So the point of that is to encourage people to sign up. That class for the fall will begin August 19th, Tuesday, Thursday from 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. And it's kind of a seminar-based course. We have experts, so many of the people who have spoken today come to the class to talk more in depth about agriculture, how water works, geology, et cetera, about the valley. We have a few field trips, et cetera. And it's just a really great way to get to know what's happening here a little bit more in depth. Certainly for those who are looking for credits, for degree requirements, taking this and the other class is a great opportunity for that. So again, there'll be more information coming out. If you have not signed up for our newsletter, You can do that out on the registration table or next to it at the Salazar Center table. There is a sheet where you can put your name down, email, or QR code, and you can sign up for that monthly newsletter where I'm sending things out, again, to keep people up to date about different events that are happening here in the region, throughout the state of Colorado, that are of relevance to all of us. So there's some other things I may say for post-break, but I think at this point, we are going to break. We have a little bit more time than initially planned, which is not a bad thing. But I think we have some snacks outside. Stretch your legs, visit the tables out there. We will reconvene at 3:45 for our keynote. So thanks again.